thank you. Oh. Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh. Hey, everyone. Few minutes late. I had to get some essentials. Some rum. I had to go get some rum. Yeah, I just ran back from the shops. Yeah, little one is in a good way a handful. Just over a year old. Yeah. It's now the missus time to clock in, and I needed a rum. So, for those underage, you'll realise one day. So yes, I'm very good, thank you now, guys. Calling off. So, hope you are all good. Hope you're all good, and you've called off. I'm calling off physically right now. But from the sprint race, you've been able to take everything in. Start qualifying has been delayed, by the way. Not sure what the reason is for that. Let's see if I can find out. That's just come through, so... Yeah, a few years away from that yet, Mark. Right, why has it been delayed? Anyone know why? Rain? It's not raining. Nope, not raining yet. Let's see. Normally Chris Medland is a good guy to check. Not sure why it's been delayed. So I'll wait here. Oh, thanks, Dan. Stop it. Don't know really in relation to how long it's going to be. So we'll see. Ted Hammer, happy birthday, little one. Hi, Scott. Hey, mate. Ted the Hammer is in West Ham fan. Go on, you Irons. Good win today. Well-needed win, by the way. We needed that. I think the track is still wet, filled with damages. Are they really? What, with Gabriel Bortoleto stuff? Maybe that's the case. I'll see if I can find reason for it. Let me get my TV coverage up as well. The race has been completed. This is now qualifying that we're heading into for the race tomorrow. So this is not the sprint race now. Let's see. Just trying to find out what the reason for it is. Saturday, Stuffey F1, Saturday evening, a nice beer. Lovely. Sounds chilled. Still trying to find out as to why qualifying has been delayed. No one is actually reporting on why qualifying has been delayed. Trying to find out. We are checking. Live updates and qualifying. Here we go. No one's reporting on it yet as to why it's delayed. So unless it might be news, just might be old news, but normally they'll say why. I mean, when did that come through? 2:47:55. That's ages ago. So hopefully that's not the case. Oh, yeah. So the missus has just found it. FIA on qualifying delay. The delay to qualifying is due to repairs being required to the barrier, damage at turn 10 and 11. So when I was watching some coverage earlier on, there was some support races going on. So clearly there's been an incident through turn 10 and 11, which has required some delays for repairing the barrier. So it's not caused from F1 earlier on, Gabriel Bortoleto, even though that was a massive... So some information about Gabriel Bortoleto's crash. This is wild, by the way. So his crash, he entered the barriers at over 300 kilometers an hour. His first impact was around 32G, and the second impact was 57G. That is a lot. That is a lot. So, yeah, qualifying has been delayed due to a barrier repair being required caused by a support race. So, yeah, but 57G. Unreal. That's the second impact as well, not the first impact. So, if you have any of you guys seen in my Discord, I'll post a link for you. Surely you've seen the this link. Hang on, I'll copy it. Copy it in the chat for you all. But if you check this out, this is a fan's perspective. Oh, that's my Discord. Hang on, I didn't want to share my necessarily the Discord link. Hang on. Let's remove that. Hang on. But if you've seen any actual like onboards, it's let's copy link. There we go. There we go. Check that out. Pinned message. Check that out. That is proper impact. That shows the impact of his of the crash, and the fact of it he's okay and he's walking around absolutely fine is, yeah, crazy. He's been cleared by the medical team, so all good. He'll be ready for the GP. He'll be ready for this afternoon. He'll be ready now for qualifying. He got the go. He got the go ahead. Yeah, he was absolutely okay. So no issues there at all for him. Let's remove the DRS detection points. We don't need that right now. There we go. Is Gabby going to race? Yeah, he's definitely going to race. He's ready. Yeah, Max's was over 50G. There's been a few big impacts like that. I should have tequila. No. We do actually have some on yeah, in the house, but no, we're not having any tequila. Rum it is, rum it is. Just a few casual rums as well. Mercedes bumped Ferrari in the constructors. Yeah, they did indeed. So they're now ahead. It's been obviously a bit topsy-turvy there. Ferrari did end up finishing P5 and P7, though, with Leclerc and Hamilton. But, of course, the big news is Oscar Piastri losing 8 points in the championship. Now, for Oscar Piastri fans, Piastri could still win this race. It looks like it's going to be dry for qualifying. It could be dry tomorrow as well. And, look, the McLaren is quite comfortably the quickest car here, I think. What we saw in the sprint race, while Norris was kind of playing it down in relation to, of course, the playing his dominance down. He only got caught because of the difference in strategy, because the Mercedes started on the softs and then they switched to the mediums, and Norris did the opposite, of course, under that red flag. So we saw those softs, interestingly, come to kind of the end of their life cycle and get caught by the mediums towards the end of the sprint race, which was good. That bodes well in relation to a two-stop strategy tomorrow at Interlagos, which we do so often see here. But the McLarens will be like for like when it comes to strategy. They'll beat anyone up and down the grid. So Piastri still is just a 1-2 away, where he finishes first and Norris finishes second, from reducing that lead again down to 2 points. Sorry, down from 9 to 2 points. So 7 points difference between first and second. 25 points to 18. So yeah, tall order for Piastri, of course. How's he going to pick himself up? I guess he'll take the positives away that he was on not too bad a pace compared to his teammate. But yeah, it's a costly mistake earlier on, wasn't it? Track temp looks very hot. Yeah, a lot hotter. Mercedes, of course, benefited yesterday from the track temps cooling quite dramatically from in Q3 yesterday. They dropped from around this, actually. Qualifying started around 42 Celsius yesterday, and it reduced to 33 Celsius. And that really, I think, did help Mercedes with the cooler track conditions. And that also contributed probably to their performance earlier on in the sprint race. But that track temperature has just gone up slightly as well to 44 degrees. So a lot hotter than, it seems to be hotter than yesterday. Barrier repairs, yeah. So we have a delay in qualifying due to barrier repairs at turns 10 and 11. Someone's gone off there. in a support race, so we don't know why. There we go. Quali will start 5 minutes past the hour. So we don't have long to wait at all. Don't have long to wait at all. What's that in relation to a grid penalty? What are my predictions for quali after the results of the sprint? So I think we are still, with these track temperatures and the track increasing, I think we're going to see a McLaren 1-2. I think Max will get up there, and maybe Max will spoil the party. I don't think he's going to be on pole. I think Norris is going to be on pole position. So, did you miss the pole for pole? No, I haven't. I didn't do one. Sorry, apologies. I haven't done one. Pole for pole. Let me do it. Who will get pole? Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, and do we reckon either Kimi or George? Should we throw both of them in there? Kimi or George? We'll do those two, because I don't think the Ferraris have got the pace here. So you heard that Bortoleto is all good after the crash. Yes, you heard correctly. He's very good, and they've got the car fixed, and he's going to be participating in qualifying. So very, very well done. Right, let's get my sector times up. We want the sector leaderboard, of course, to show you guys. So maybe Ferrari have sorted out their setups. Maybe a few teams here have sorted out their setups. I expect Max to be a lot stronger in this. He was running a lower downforce package, so he'll add more wing to the car. Supposedly the car was being run too low as well, and it was too stiff. So there's a lot of improvements to be had by that of the Mercedes. There's a lot to be had in relation in gaining performance on Max Verstappen's side. You're amazed they've got that car. I mean, I think they have. I think I've seen it. Let me just see. I imagine they would have tried their utmost. Of course, Gabriel Bortoleto, the first Brazilian driver in F1 since Felipe Massa. So, yeah, of course, he's got a lot of support here this weekend, as does Franco Colapinto. He's also another driver. Will be looking to have a much better afternoon than he did morning, crashing out earlier on. Nearly at 64,000 subs. Yes, we are. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. We'll hit that before the end of the quali, surely. And then 65,000 tomorrow. Onwards to 70k. Oh, you're right there, Missy. Yeah, let's just go down the wrong way. Yeah, no worries. Some duct tape and it will buff out, yeah. But yeah, from my understanding, those talking about grid place penalties, there are no grid place penalties for anyone. So, yeah, all tickety-boo. Unless there's, of course, something that happens in this qualifying session that requires a grid place penalty. No one is heading into this session right now knowing they've got a penalty to be applied. So, no, I'll bring her back on the stream when she's able to sit still for 2 seconds, because she's not able to do that at the moment. So, Gabriel Bortoleto's car isn't ready just yet. It isn't ready just yet. It's got the engine cover off. They're still doing work to his car, but the mechanics are working furiously on it at the moment. They probably would have been hoping that the delay would be slightly longer than 5 minutes. But we've got the two Williams drivers at the end of the pit lane right now, as you can see. Carlos Sainz is avidly looking at the lights to see when they go green, but they're still working on Gabriel Bortoleto's car. Fingers crossed he's able to get back out there. But the fact of it is still there and looking like he could get out before this session is done. I mean, really, he only needs to get out there and do one lap. As long as he's got enough time to do one lap, he only needs really 5 minutes to get out there, do an out lap, and then do a push lap. So, yeah. Start time was delayed, Casey, due to a support race crash. There was a crash that caused some repairs needing to be required in one of the barriers. So, does Max have no room? That's just rumours. Max does not have a grid place penalty. No one has a grid place penalty. So. Some paddock rumours. Oscar is having talks with Red Bull if he doesn't get the World Drivers' Championship. I pay very little, unless it comes kind of from a reputable source. I don't really, with respect, if it comes from another YouTuber, I don't pay too much heed to it. And I suggest you guys do the same. There's too many... Ultimately, clicks gets you money, views earns you money, and that sort of stuff will earn you money. Those sort of rumours. That's why people post that stuff. People have got channels which are much larger than mine, where they're all based around rumour. That's fine if that's how you want to set out your stall and do your thing. But I haven't heard that from any reputable source yet. So Piastri will get demolished by Verstappen. He should stay at McLaren. When Lewis retires, maybe he'll go to Ferrari. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for Piastri. I mean, at the moment, Piastri, what's going on with Piastri right now is all of his own doing. It's not to do. He's got no one else to blame but himself. So he's being comprehensively outperformed by his teammates and Verstappen, and he's getting inside his own head. So, yeah, no sabotage, no one else to blame but himself. And I'm sure he'll be doing that and looking at himself internally, first and foremost. So, but here we go. Green, green, green. Slight delay to this qualifying session getting underway by 5 minutes. We have 18 minutes here now of Q1, and that's very interesting. Sainz and Albon are on a set of used mediums. So remember, you don't have to use mediums now in this qualifying session. That is only mandatory in sprint qualifying in SQ1 and SQ2. In the main qualifying for the race, which we're in now, you can use the soft tyre whenever you like. So Sainz and Albon using mediums right now, maybe just to see how the track is feeling. Of course, they've got quite a long time to be able to fit enough laps in here, and of course as well, this track evolves. It gets quicker and quicker, as we saw yesterday in qualifying. So the later you go out, the quicker theoretically you should be able to go. But of course, there's always the risk of yellow flags being thrown, like we saw with Charles Leclerc yesterday. Those few drivers got caught up with that double yellow, which meant that they ended up unable to finish their laps. So, but welcome everyone. Hope you are well. Hope you are good. Everyone commentated Jinx Bortoleto today. They were just praising him before he crashed. Commentator Jinx is back. Yeah, she's got a few words in her vocabulary now. So, but here we go, guys. Here we go. So, what will they be able to do out here? What Oscar Piastri be able to do? He's on a set of used softs. We've got Hadjar on new, Lawson on new, Ocon, Behrman. So there's a few drivers out there, of course, who did not do well in qualifying yesterday. Will be looking for redemption today. So we will see how they fare. So Albon and Sainz just did an outlap there on a set of mediums, no doubt just to see the lay of the land, see how the track was feeling. And they are back into the pits. We'll see if they've put on a brand new set of softs. I suppose they will have done when they exit the pit lane, but we will see. But let's keep an eye on Nico Hulkenberg, shall we? 18.844 in the first sector. Now, we know from qualifying yesterday that really you want to be, a good first sector is under a 117. That's really where you need to be. Anything over 118 is slow in respect. And Nico Hulkenberg's first sector time there was not suitable whatsoever. So confirmation of the two Williams drivers out on brand new softs now. So those mediums were just there to see how the track was faring. We'll see if that'll be the case for the two Aston Martins as well. They'll be looking to capitalise on what has already been a strong weekend for them. Alonso finishing in the points when it came to the sprint race earlier, and Lance Stroll only just missing out on a point scoring position after being overtaken by Gasly in the last couple of laps. But Alonso, he's actually going for a push lap on a set of used mediums. That's interesting. Gasly also out there on a set of used mediums. Verstappen is on arguably a new set of softs, only 2 laps old. Hamilton, let's see how the Ferraris fare, shall we? As Behrman goes fastest with a 110.6. But let's stay on board with Lewis Hamilton. Let's see how he goes. And he's already going slow, Lewis. He's already going slow through that first sector. So is he doing a second warm-up lap, or has he just locked up into turn 1? That'd be a great start to this qualifying for Ferrari, wouldn't it? Charles Leclerc starting his lap, so we'll stay on board with Charles. He's on a set of mediums, Charles. Bold. So Norris is on a set of brand new softs as well. So there's a few drivers out there we'll keep an eye on. It's okay. It's okay. Lawson fastest there with a 110.543. Lando Norris starting his lap. Lawson will be needing to get out of the way pretty swiftly to let the McLaren car through. But Lewis Hamilton, 31.7 in the first sector there. So I haven't seen a replay. Watching Oscar Piastri, a 111.8 for Oscar on a considerably used set of softs. And I'm just watching his lap, and the car's very twitchy on the rear on those set of used softs. So do not fear, guys. That is 6 lap older tyres than that of Liam Lawson, whereas Norris is on a brand new set, and he's just done an 18.2 in that first sector. So track not quite yet up to the speed of what we saw yesterday in Q3. Of course, track temperature is a lot hotter as well, so that's going to make the car, make the track less, make it slower. So Oscar Piastri actually locked up quite considerably into turn 1. He went very deep into turn 1, and that's why his lap time was very slow there. But Lando going fastest in the first sector, fastest in the second sector. Lewis Hamilton starting his lap now after maybe having an issue in the first. Yeah, Lewis just went deep into the first corner. No lock up from him, but he just went deep and kind of outbraked himself. So he's going again, but Lando is about to cross the line and go fastest with a 110.4, but only just over a tenth quicker than that of Liam Lawson, as Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest first sector, a 118.1 for Lewis. So have the Ferrari turned their fortunes around from yesterday? Very, very much so. Got the setup wrong. Car was in complete disarray. Charles did say in interviews, actually in the sprint race earlier on, after the sprint race, indicating that there is a fundamental issue with the car that they're trying to rectify, but it's tricky to do so. But we'll see if they've been able to sort out their difficulties into turn 10, where they locked up all the time yesterday. Verstappen only goes full fastest, so the track is not as quick as yesterday. A lot hotter, as we mentioned, as Lewis has gone quickest in the middle sector as well, 35.954. So it is only Q1. It is only the first run in Q1, but this is much more positive start for the Ferrari. So let's see how Lewis, does he go purple everywhere? Well, he doesn't go purple everywhere, but he goes fastest in Q1, and well, it's not off. I don't think we said that at all yesterday, that he was fast in any session. So that bodes well. It's a much better start for Ferrari, particularly in Lewis Hamilton's hands. Of course, Charles did his lap time on a set of mediums. He is still out there. Hulkenberg moves up into P3. So there is a lot more room for improvement out there. This track should get quicker. Track temperature is 42.7 degrees, but of course there's also improvements to be made in relation to setup and performance as well, from what they've learned from yesterday and from the sprint race earlier on. Gabriel Bortoleto's car is still in his garage, in his pit box, so hopefully we'll get to see him before this session is out. He still has 11.5 minutes remaining. But guys, thank you everyone for tuning in right now. If you could hit that like button, let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes. It'd be appreciated. We fell just short of 1,000 likes in the sprint race earlier on. It really does help with the channel and growing the community. And we're nearly at 64,000 subs as well. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. Please display speeds. Apologies, I'm not even on QUALI mode, am I? I'm not even in QUALI. I do apologise there. There we go. You can see the speeds. I wasn't in my QUALI layout. Sorry. Imagine being in that sub. So, Bortoleto is not ready to get in his car yet, so they're still working furiously on it, but we'll see. Max's setup, I don't know what they've done with Max's car yet, but no doubt they've tried to address the issues that was causing him problem. Here we go with the two Mercedes boys. George Russell is up there just ahead of Kimi Antonelli, of course, P2 and P3. Maybe just needed a couple more extra laps, Antonelli, and he would have got into P1 and probably overtaken Lando, but he just fell short. So let's see how they fare. Hotter track temperature, no doubt. Hotter track temperature right now, though, in Q1, and where it was at least 10 degrees cooler when we got to Q3 yesterday. Behrman also green in the first sector. He's looking for improvements as Ocon moves up ahead a position of Charles Leclerc into P8. Charles Leclerc still doing a cool-down lap here on this set of mediums. I'm surprised he's still out there on a set of mediums, to be fair. Maybe they're trying to see if he can get through on a set of mediums rather than using a set of softs. Yuki Tsunoda, George Russell goes fastest in the middle sector. So George Russell, that's much better from him in the middle sector. That was where he struggled yesterday in the middle sector. But his teammate's gone even quicker in that middle sector. Just chucked a 10th on his teammate. He's a 10th quicker in the first sector. He was a quick 10th quicker in the second. George moves up to P2, but Antonelli could be jumping up to the top of the timing screens here. He has definitely got his eye in here at Interlagos, and he is a man full of confidence. And there you go, 0.04 of a second quicker than that of Lewis Hamilton, and that bodes very well for him. But Behrman goes fastest. Okay. Here we go, ladies and gents. Here we go. This track is ramping up as Bearman in the Haas has just gone fast as well. 109.9. 109.9 pretty much there. Leclerc's gone fastest in the first sector on a set of mediums. Lando Norris is out there on a second push lap on this set of softs, so we'll see how he fares. He's just shy of the fastest first sector of Charles Leclerc by a couple of hundredths of a second. We'll see how he does in the middle sector. As Gasly's gone fastest in that first sector. Hadjar's gone fastest in the last sector and bumped his way up into P4. Now, as I said, remember, Sector 1, the fastest sector time that we saw yesterday was around a 17.5. So we're still some way off this track being as quick as it was yesterday. It is only Q1, and it will get quicker and quicker as the session goes on, as Charles can only move himself up into P5. Will that be enough? There's 7 temps between him and P16 at the moment, or 8 temps at the right now. But with the gains that we're just seeing, Lance Stroll on a brand new set of softs jumps up into P3. Fernando Alonso is improving as well. He moves up into P4, just shy of his teammates' time. Gasly could be going to the top of the timing screens the way that he's going, but it seems that his middle sector is half a second off. So his middle sector, not particularly that good, but that first sector was very good, as Lando Norris only moves up into P6. Pierre Gasly, though, where is he going to go? He's currently 18th. He's going to launch his way to second from 18th. Wow. Everyone needs to put on a fresh set of boots, you imagine, right now, because there is gains to be had out there, although not if your name is Carlos Sainz, as that gain was very minimal as he went only up into P13. So we currently have Bearman and Gasly. I was about to say Bearman and Gasly in first and second, but Piastri has just launched his way up into P2, and that is on a fresh set of tyres. So Albon up into P3. You can see here drivers launching themselves up from the bottom of the standings up into the top here, and it's going to be a very, very hectic last 7.5 minutes, you do presume, here in this Q1 session as the track is getting quicker. Charles Leclerc is still out there on this set of mediums. Let's see what Charles Leclerc is going to do here. He's going through... No, he's in the pit lane. Charles now in the pit lane. So, interesting. Max Verstappen, yet to get confirmation that he's on a brand new set of tyres. I do assume that he will be on a new set of tyres because it'd be very silly not to be on it. Bortoleto still not out right now. Nope, still in the garage. They're still working on that car. They've probably got another 3-4 minutes for him to get out, to be honest with you. He needs probably like 3 minutes to start his lap, to do an out lap and have enough time to do a push lap. Or even less than that, to be fair. He probably needs less than that. He only needs 1 out lap on a set of softs. So, yeah, they've still got some time, but it is a rush against the clock. Last images what I saw of Bortoleto, he was in the pit box. So, Gasly in the pit lane, Sainz in the pit lane. Verstappen is starting his lap. We'll stay on board with him. It's currently Bearman P1, Piastri P2, Albon P3, Gasly P4, Antonelli is 5th, Stroll is 6th. Verstappen right now, we're on board with as he makes his way down into turn 1, through turn 2. The corner here through turn 3, where we saw 3 cars go off, most notably Oscar Piastri, Nico Hulkenberg, and Franco Colapinto. He makes his way down into turn 4, and, well, that's an 18.178 in the first sector. That's only 8th fastest, but it's very tight at the top in relation to the first sector. No one's still yet to go sub 118 in that first sector. Fastest at the moment, it belongs to Pierre Gasly, or 118 flat. But as Verstappen makes his way through turn 8 and turn 9, this was the sector where he was struggling with the car yesterday and in the sprint race earlier on due to the low downforce setup and the low ride height that they had. The car was too stiff. He was struggling with the turning, and he was actually reporting that the car was bouncing a lot as well. But here he goes through turn 12. He's on a brand new set of softs. This is his actual push lap here, and it's a 36.4 in the middle sector for Max. So, was that his out lap or his push lap? Is he going to go for another lap now, Verstappen, or is this just his actual lap? It's a 110.7. And that was an actual error for Max Verstappen in the middle sector. Not sure what happened with Max there in the middle sector, but he lost quite a considerable amount of time. And Max, on a brand new set of tyres, is P16. I'm a bit confused right now. I'm a bit confused. So, why do I keep saying 118? Apologies if I say 118. It just an 18 seconds. 18 seconds. Sorry. But Max going very, very slow here to cool down his soft tyres. But that wasn't a good... Not sure. sure what he's done there. He's going very slowly. He's going very slow, probably to try and cool off those soft compound tyres. He's out there on track pretty much on his own. But that's not a good middle sector, is it? I was wondering if there was an issue for him. I don't know. I'm yet to see a replay. So, we'll see. Matt's trying to get P17 so we can do last to first, 17th to first again. Yeah, maybe. But 4 minutes remaining of this Q1 session. Lots of drivers at risk here. Lots of drivers can improve. This is going to be a very, very interesting last run here in Q1. We saw some big gains earlier on. Bearman jumping to the top of the timing screens. We saw Albon jump from the bottom. Gasly as well jump up from 18th to 2nd at the time. He's now in P4. Leclerc's at risk. Verstappen definitely at risk. So no, at risk again. Max is saying, oh my God, the car and the ride is a tiny bit better, but now sliding in turn 1. So Max not happy with that Red Bull. So improvements, but not where he wants it to be. But we know that Max can dig deep and get a lap time out when it is required. So we will stay on board with Max Verstappen. If he's going to go again here, is he going to go again, or is this going to be another cool-down lap for Max? I think it's going to be another cool-down lap. He's not coming into the pit lane, so Max is going to cool down again. There's no point for him pushing right now because of the traffic. Look at that traffic coming out of the pit lane here. Does look like, unfortunately, that Gabriel Bortoleto will not be able, at the moment, to start a lap. He is still in the pit lane, of course, from that big, big crash that he had earlier on at the end of the sprint race. But Lando Norris is definitely on a push lap, so we'll stay on board with Lando Norris, currently in P9, our sprint race winner earlier on, extending his championship lead over Oscar Piastri to 9 points now from 1 point. And well, he's just gone fastest in the first sector, an 18 flat for him. He's half a tenth quicker than Pierre Gasly's first sector time. He's on a brand new set of tyres. This is the first time we're seeing him on a brand new set of tyres as he makes his way. No, sorry, it's the second time we're seeing him on a brand new set of tyres. He went out earlier on a brand new set, but did multiple laps on them as he's making his way through the middle sector. Let us know if we can help you out with the tools. No, I don't really know what to tell you, is what Verstappen says. So Verstappen at a bit of a bewilderment of his Red Bull car at the moment. Charles Leclerc starting his lap as well. So seems to be a transponder issue there with Alex Albon and Ollie Bearman. Maybe they have not come. Alex Albon is out there right now, and Ollie Bearman has disappeared from the track map. So not sure where Ollie Bearman is. Is he even out on track? He is. He is pit out right now. He's coming down the last straight as Lando Norris comes across the line and goes fastest with a 109.6. 2 and a bit temps quicker than that of Ollie Bearman, who is on a set of used tyres. George Russell on a brand new set of tyres could only go P4. George Russell slower than Ollie Bearman. Wow. Liam Lawson moves himself up into P5 there. Pierre Gasly is starting his lap now, getting a cheeky little toe from Liam Lawson down into turn 1. Colapinto, he crashed out earlier on. He's starting his lap. He wants to give his fans something to cheer. Lance Stroll, he is on a push lap right now, and he is coming across the line. He's green in every sector, and he moves up into P5 and pushes Liam Lawson down. Hamilton getting a cheeky little toe from Stroll down into turn 1. Charles Leclerc, he is on a lap right now. He's gone green in the first sector, green in the second sector. Where will Charles Leclerc go? Piastri is starting his lap, but all eyes on Charles Leclerc, who's currently 14th. He's improving, and it's enough to push him up into P4. But Lando Norris is currently over 2 tenths quicker than that of Ollie Bearman and the rest of the field, as Ocon can only push himself up into P15. So unlike his teammate, who is up in P2, Ocon is half a second slower than that of his teammate. That is a tremendous lap time from Ollie Bearman earlier on, as Alonso only moves up into P11. Lewis Hamilton is a bit slower in that first sector. It's an 18.2 for him. Not particularly quick for Lewis Hamilton. Can he recover that time in the middle and last sector? All eyes on Verstappen as well, who's currently in the drop zone. Yes, you heard that correctly. As Sainz moves up into P12. Verstappen, slower in that first sector, an 18.199. Can he hook it up in the middle sector, or will he be going out here as Gasly moves up into P2? What is going on in this Q1 session? Of course, it's only Q1. It's not Q3. They still have to get through, as Colapinto cannot drag himself outside the drop zone. Hamilton is currently in P14. It's a better middle sector for him, and that moves him up into 7th. But all eyes on Verstappen. It's a 36.0 in the middle sector, and that's a slow middle sector for Max Verstappen. A 36.0 is 17th fastest. This is a big issue for Max Verstappen. He could be going out here in Q1. Is he going to be out? He is! 16th! Max Verstappen is 16th! What is happening in this qualifying session? Max Verstappen is out in Q1. What? Oh my God, just issues with that Red Bull. The car's got worse. The car is worse than yesterday, and Max is out in Q1. Wow, championship at big risk here. Images of Jos Verstappen, Max's dad, disgusted and walking out to the back of the garage, out the back of the Red Bull garage, because Max Verstappen, 16th, absolutely confused at why his Red Bull is much slower than it was yesterday. And, well, he's reported the actual ride of the car is a bit better. Nico Hulkenberg is 15th. Gabriel Bortoleto, they got him in the car, but he was unable to get out, unfortunately. They got him in the car, but it was just, unfortunately, just a bit too much. They needed a bit more of a longer delay. But we have lost Bortoleto, who didn't even run here. Sonoda, Colapinto, Ocon, and Verstappen. Verstappen on merit. What has happened there? The top 15 are separated by just under 7 tenths. 14th to first is half a second. We have Gasly and Behrman quicker than the 2 Mercedes, the 2 Ferraris, and Oscar Piastri. Gasly is P2, Behrman's P3. Verstappen is saying, yeah, I have no grip, 0, brilliant. Yeah, that's going to make you go slow. Let's have a look at these sector times. And, well, I mean, it's quite... This is wild. Norris fastest across the board. But Verstappen, 12th fastest in the first sector. He's 17th fastest in the second. And he is 14th fastest in the last. Just losing. He's 3 tenths slower than Norris in the middle sector. And the last sector, well, yeah, it just all adds up, doesn't it? It all adds up. Absolutely crazy. So, yeah, that's going to be some stat. When was the last time? Was it last year? Well, I mean, okay, last year was safety car, red flag related reasons. But on pure pace alone, when was the last time Max Verstappen got knocked out in Q1? That is going to be you're going to have to go back some years on pace alone. So removing any kind of red timings of red flags, yellow flags, but on pure pace alone, Max going out in Q1, where the car just wasn't there for him. Never. I think maybe you're going back to when he was in AlphaTauri. Toro Rosso. So, yeah, need some rain tomorrow for Max Verstappen, because that is going to be championship over. So, God knows what's going on with that Red Bull car, guys. God knows what's going on with it. But thank you for everyone for tuning in. If you have just tuned in, what a crazy Q1 session that is. Your eyes are not deceiving you. There has been no shenanigans. There has been no red flag. No. That is your genuine order in Q1. Gasly second, Behrman third. Gasly and Behrman have split the 2 McLarens. Antonelli is 14th. Verstappen is out in Q1 in 16th. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Shane, thank you for the 10, by the way. Thank you. But yes. Whew. Can I tell you the time for the next quali? I don't know when the next quali is started. Oh, there you go. past. So you're talking under 2 minutes. Under 2 minutes. So you're looking forward to Max putting the pressure on the McLaren team for the World Championship. Yeah. Well, look, never say never. Crazy things can still happen. Remember what happened last year? And remember, just because it doesn't say there might be rain tomorrow, doesn't mean that there won't be rain. So remember that. Right, I'm just topping up my my beverage. I suggest you guys do the same. We have just a couple of minutes until this session gets back underway, because if that's any indication of what we have in store in Q2 and Q3, you definitely don't want to miss it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Cheers, everyone. Right. Q2 about to get underway. I think I just refreshed it. It's all good. Don't worry. Don't worry. There we go. There we go. It's all good. Ooh. So, yeah, Max just losing time everywhere. Just looking back at his lap on the TV coverage, and there's no discernible error anywhere. It's just lack of control, not having the grip in the car, and this is the sort of track. This is the same thing that basically happened with Oscar Piastri at Mexico, where many asked, obviously, sabotage and what's going on there. When you don't have any kind of big error anywhere, but you're losing time in kind of every corner, it all adds up. You may lose a tenth here or half a tenth there, but eventually it all adds up, and that's obviously what happens. So there we go. There we go. Right, so if you have just tuned in, yes, the big news is that Max Verstappen, for the first time that I can ever remember since maybe he was back in Toro Rosso when he first joined F1, is out in Q1. I don't think he's maybe ever gone out in Q1 from pure pace alone since he's been at Red Bull. I could be wrong there, but you're definitely going back a good handful of years. So yes, that Red Bull definitely not improved. I suspected that they would turn it around and he'd be pushing for the pole, not necessarily pole position, but at least for the front row or on the second row for tomorrow's race. But looks like it's not going to be the case. And we actually saw Pierre Gasly and Ollie Bearman in P2 and P3. Let's see what occurs. The track temperature is starting to fall, guys. Just like it did yesterday in the sprint quali. Track temperature is now 39 degrees. That's 5 degrees cooler than it was at the start of Q1. Who will that play into which drivers and teams' hands? You would say Mercedes. This is a similar circumstance to what they found themselves in yesterday. But teams have learned, they've gathered data from the sprint qualifying and from the sprint race, and they have no doubt made improvements. But Ollie Bearman, a great qualifying from him at the moment in Q1. He was half a second quicker than that of Esteban Ocon. And you do have to say, really, on the form right now, Ollie Bearman has been comfortably outperforming Esteban Ocon. But we'll see if he will be able to get into Q3 at the end of this 15-minute session. So Alex Albon makes his way through turn 1, the 2 Williams. Alex Albon didn't have particularly an overall brilliant race earlier on. Didn't make up too much ground. Carlos Sainz had a terrible qualifying yesterday. He'll be looking to fare much better here. So let's see how they both get on. So the only 2 drivers out on track right now. Remember, track evolution is key here. So the later you go out, the quicker you will go. However, it is riskier, of course, because any sort of yellow flag will mean that you will have to slow down and your lap time will not be able to really be completed. It will definitely be slower. So 18.1s for both Albon and Sainz in the first sector. Only 0.003 of a second separating the 2 Williams drivers. They are on a set of used soft tyres, though. We'll see how they fare through the middle sector. This is really where you then start to see that usage of the tyre really come into play. That's where you want the new softs, the new tyre, that additional grip to ensure that that front end bites. And, of course, that you've got that rear traction, that all-important rear traction out of the turn 8, out of turn 10, and particularly out of turn 12 as well. And you can see Sainz there, a big difference, 6 tenths slower than Alex Albon in that middle sector. So a 10.351 for Alex Albon, and Sainz's time we will get any moment now as he's got the DRS open, full throttle to the finish line. And no, it's not to the finish line. He has bowed out, and he has decided to come into the pit lane after that most very much noticeable error in the middle sector. So no point there. No point there committing to another crossing this line and you losing that time. He might as well come straight into the pit lane. So fingers crossed for a miracle tomorrow to make this championship interesting. The championship is still on. There's still a long way to go. There's still 3 more race weekends after this and another sprint race as well. So yeah, there is still a long way to go. And there's still a whole race tomorrow to be had at Interlagos. We have seen many incidents here. Even in dry conditions, we've seen safety cars, we've seen incidents, race restarts. So just because it might not rain tomorrow doesn't mean that it might not be a chaotic race. So be sure to tune in, of course. Could you kindly ask me to turn on the sectors on the map since it's qualifying? I'm not going to turn them on because I feel like it's a bit difficult to say. I mean, look, you guys can say yay or nay. I did try and pick some colours that I think were suitable. Let me know if you think that's suitable or not, or if clean's better. You let me know. But we need a title fight in Abu Dhabi. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't want Lando to run away with it, so. Oh, God, you missed a good sprint. Nay. Like the sectors, yay. No. Good. No. Yeah, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm going to turn them off. I just... Yeah, I can't find any colours that really work, so I do apologise. But I'll do my best, obviously, with the commentary. You know roughly where the sectors are. It's a shame that there aren't like just lines on it. I may put in a request for that, actually, but there's just lines indicating where the sectors are. That'd be very good. That'd be very helpful for us. I think that's all we need, rather than the whole area being highlighted, but there isn't any indication of that. But Charles Leclerc, let's go back to Charles Leclerc, who is fastest in that first sector, the fastest nearly of anyone that we've seen thus far in that first sector. As Oscar Piastri goes fastest of anyone today in this qualifying session in the middle sector. Whereas Charles, what has happened to Charles there? A 50-second middle sector. Charles has bowed out of that middle sector. Don't know where he's gone wrong there, as Piastri does a 109.8 in that first run. Quicker than Alex Albon, as Hamilton goes over 2.5 tenths slower than that of Oscar Piastri, a 110.1 for Hamilton, so not a good lap time from him, and neither was that for Charles Leclerc either, as Charles Leclerc bowed out of that lap very early. I don't know where he made that error. Maybe it was in turn 4, so he's now going again. Charles Leclerc looks like he's got enough battery left in to go for a second push lap here. Isaac Hadjar moves up into P3, 2 tenths behind Behrman. Behrman to the top of the leaderboard. Behrman has got genuine pace here. He's quicker than Oscar Piastri. What have they put in that Haas? Rocket fuel. They've got to have put some rocket fuel in the back of that Haas, in that Ferrari engine, because, oh my goodness, he is up there on merit. Liam Lawson goes up ahead slightly of Isaac Hadjar. Fernando Alonso is P5. Albon goes fastest in the middle sector. Look, Charles Leclerc's first sector is slower than his previous best, but that's still a good first sector for Charles Leclerc, even though it is technically slower. 35.977 in the middle sector for him as Gasly moves up into P7. Charles Leclerc, this is going to be an improvement for him, understandably, with him not really setting a decent lap time yet with that 125.9. What is he going to do? Where is he going to go? Can he get ahead of... Oh, my God, Charles Leclerc only moves up into P9. He's half a second, Charles, off of the customer team in Haas. Lando Norris is going green across all sectors and goes up into P3. He's nearly 2 tenths behind Ollie Behrman, but he is on a set of used compound tyres, 1 lap older than his teammate as well. So improvements to be had there for Lando Norris, and he even set the fastest last sector out of anyone. Alex Albon is going quite nicely. He's about across the finish line. Where's he going to go? P7. And that leaves Charles Leclerc in the bottom 5 right now. And, well, Kimi Antonelli is gone fastest in the middle sector. George Russell is good as well. He moves up into P3. That pushes Leclerc even further down. Kimi Antonelli makes his way around the last couple of corners. He's got a DRS open. Kimi Antonelli finished P2 yesterday, qualified P2 yesterday, and he goes P2 right now in Q2. 19 thousandths of a second slower than Ollie Behrman on a set of... fresh, soft compound tyres. Piastri was on used, as was Lando Norris as well. George Russell was on a brand new set, and, well, the Ferraris are definitely at risk. Carlos Sainz seems to have not been able to get a decent first lap in, unless this is his outlap. I think, actually, this might be Sainz's outlap right now, as he did a 26.2 in that first sector. So, Alex, at the moment, we have Gasly, Stroll, Leclerc, Hülkenberg, and Sainz in the drop zone. But with Sainz maybe improving with this next push lap that he's got coming, could we see both Ferraris in the drop zone with only 6.5 minutes remaining? Well, by the time Sainz does this push lap with maybe just over 5 minutes remaining in this Q2 session, Lots to go on here, but you can see the top 10 are separated by 3.5 tenths right now. It is super, super close. Charles Leclerc is just under half a second back in P13. The top 13 are separated by under half a second. So it's very, very close here. Lap times, super close. Still not as quick as yesterday right now because the track temperature is hotter than it was at this stage of the of qualifying yesterday. So that is why lap times are not as quick right now. But it doesn't mean that it won't get quicker and the track temperature won't fall when it comes to Q3 in a few moments' time. But Leclerc nearly lost it in 4, did he? As George Russell is reporting, got no grip. Feels like S. We're missing something here. I don't know what. So teams, maybe some teams have gone in the wrong direction. Just because you can change your setup from the sprint race to qualifying doesn't necessarily mean sometimes that you should. And, well, maybe George Russell and some drivers out there in some teams, particularly Max Verstappen, those have actually made their car slower. And, of course, track conditions vary. Just because how the car felt on Friday doesn't mean it's necessarily going to feel the same when it comes to Saturday afternoon. So, yeah, really interesting right now. Really interesting. Someone needs to go out and, with a hairdryer and warm that track up. Max is just tired, so he decided to take a rest. Maybe. 10 more subs to 64k. Oh, thank you guys. We're nearly there. Much appreciated. If you could hit the like button as well and get this stream to 1,000 likes, that'd be appreciated. It really does help push the stream and grow this great community that we've got here. At the moment, we are on course to double our subscriber count from the start of the year, which was my goal. A personal goal of mine. So, yeah, big thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, we're in the closing stages of this championship. We still have, of course, 2 more qualifying. We still have a qualifying session here and 1 more session to have in front of us. Another race, and then we have a triple header to end this season. Vegas, Qatar, which is a sprint race weekend, and then, of course, the finale at Abu Dhabi. Will it be all wrapped up and will it be all done and dusted before we get to Abu Dhabi? I really hope not. I really hope this championship goes down to the last race of the season. But yeah, big thank you for everyone for choosing this stream as always in this watch along and for watching the other content as well. I do try and keep the content coming in different forms as much as possible. Over 64k. Thank you guys. So yeah, hope you have been enjoying everything that we've been putting out on the channel. Bearman for pole would be incredible and a big push for him being Rookie of the Year. I mean, it definitely would. Humidity down and track temp up from the sprint. Yep. Those are the key factors that I think those are the key factors that many fans don't look into. It's what we try to do here is try and pinpoint to you guys why from session to session, why someone would be quick and another one won't, and then they won't. So I try and obviously put it into layman's terms for you. And hopefully you've also learned something new since you've been following the channel. And we've enhanced your viewing experience with F1 and understanding of the sport. That's what we try to do here. And obviously provide a place for you all to enjoy the community aspect of F1. I know I definitely have. So yeah, you guys have brought me plenty of enjoyment. So Bevan will take out Norris in the race championship. Bortoleto didn't make it, unfortunately. No. Didn't make it. Right, here we go. Who is on a push lap right now? We have a Fernando Alonso on a push lap. He is making his way through turn 10. Of course, he had a good qualifying yesterday. He topped Q2 yesterday, if you remember, but on the medium compound tyre. Let's see how he fares here. 35.8 in the middle sector for him, so it's slower than his previous best. He's currently in P8. Can he make it into Q3? Again, of course, he held up those Ferraris forever earlier on in a sprint race, but he finally got overtaken by Charles Leclerc. It was a valiant effort for him in an Aston Martin that really has been so up and down this season in performance, and he has been unable to improve there. So a slower lap time there for Fernando Alonso. Alex Albon is out on a fresh set of tyres. We have Pierre Gasly out there now who's done an 18.0 in that first sector. Flying Pierre Gasly is. He loves that first sector. Nico Hulkenberg improves and moves himself up into P8 there with a 109.9. So Hamilton and Leclerc are in the drop zone as Hamilton is on an outlap right now. So Hamilton is on an outlap. Is he on an outlap or did he bugger up his first sector? I'm not entirely sure. Charles Leclerc, he's improved in the second sector. It's not great in the first sector. Is it any better? He moves up into P3. So Charles Leclerc, still not as quick as Ollie Bearman, bearing in mind, as Lando has gone quickest on a fresh set of softs. He's gone quickest in the first sector. The first driver we have seen in this qualifying session today. go sub 18 seconds. Pierre Gasly moves up into P5. Wow, the top 5 are separated by 1/10. That is crazy right now. Lewis Hamilton is starting his push lap. We'll see how he fares. He's currently in the drop zone. Carlos Sainz is in the pits. Is he coming out to do another lap? We will see. Don't know. Maybe Carlos Sainz is out of this qualifying session. Lando Norris is making his way through turn 11 right now. He'll be exiting through sector 2, and it's purple in the second sector as well. So Lando, as he has been all weekend, he has been on it, and he looks like he is definitely the man to beat, and will be setting the fastest lap time here in Q2. Oscar Piastri, he's gone slower in that first sector. It's an 18.4 for Oscar Piastri. That's half a second off of Lando Norris's first sector time, and Lando goes quickest there with a 109.6, but still only just over a tenth quicker than Ollie Behrman. Track surface slippery in turn 12. So turn 12 is slippery for some reason. Not entirely sure the reasons why, because it's nice and sunny out there at the moment. So not entirely sure what's made its way out on track at turn 12. Oscar Piastri bows out because he's not going to be able to improve, but he will be safe. Fernando Alonso is out of this session. Lewis Hamilton is improving. He's green in the first. He's green in the second. But how much quicker is he? He only needs a couple of attempts. And Lewis is out. Lewis is out, and that is a slow last sector for Lewis Hamilton. He was improving, but it's not enough for Lewis Hamilton. He's had an error in the last sector, and Lewis Hamilton has not made it through to Q3. A poor qualifying performance from him there. Kimi Antonelli is on a push lap right now, but he doesn't need to. He's in P3. He is through. And I believe that is it from everyone out there now. So we have lost Fernando Alonso, Alex Albon. Lewis Hamilton will start 13th tomorrow. Lance Stroll is 14th, and Carlos Sainz 15th. So the double Williams elimination in Q2. Nico Hulkenberg. He spent the first 18 races of this season not making it through to Q3. And then all of a sudden, a switch has been flipped in the German, and he's now making like every Q3, I think, since Circuit of the Americas. Very, very good performance from him in P10 there. A double RB Q3. Much better from Liam Lawson there in P8. No traffic for him to contend with this time around when it comes to qualifying. He is in P8. Isaac Hadjar is through there. But look at that. The top 10 are separated by 3.5 tenths. Just over 3.5 tenths. Very, very close. And, well, could Ollie Behrman in that Haas get on the front row? I do hope Ollie Behrman has at least a brand new fresh set of softs available for him in Q3. He's got to have at least one set, but Ollie Behrman is on it. So watching Lewis Hamilton, what happened with Lewis? Looks like he got a bit of dirty air with some traffic, and he had a big kind of correction out of turn 12. So yeah, the rear of that Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton just twitching and sliding around. So yeah. Does it rain tomorrow? I don't know, actually. We'll check the weather report after this session. We'll check the weather report after this session. But wow. Okay, we need to run a poll. Oh, we need to run a poll. Start a poll. Where does the bear qualify? Let's go front row. Let's go 3rd to 5th. Let's go 5th to 7th. And then we'll go 8th to 10th. There you go. I haven't put pole position because I do still think Lando's like comfortably quickest. But how do they keep getting this set up so terribly wrong? I don't know. I think, look, Lewis did say as well, he goes, he's just trying to have fun. He's just in post interviews just going, no, they keep going, is the car any better? And he's like, no, I'm just trying to have fun. It's been a pretty terrible year. Looking forward to 26. Can't blame him, really. So, It's not supposed to rain tomorrow. You checked a couple of minutes ago. Fair play, Cora. Fair play. We'll have an update. We'll have a look anyway. Behrman has had a great season considering he's being bullied by the FIA. Would be great to see him with a top team in the future. I think Behrman truly has potential. I think he is the natural replacement for Lewis when Lewis eventually moves on from Ferrari. And the good thing for Behrman is that he's in a team at Haas who can have performances like this. They're always... not always competitive, but for the most part throughout the season, they're competitive. So he's mixing it up. He's not like what George Russell had, where George Russell spent 4 years in Williams at the back of the field. He never got involved in any fighting. Whereas Behrman is in a team where he can get involved. And on the odd occasion, Haas do throw out a really good performance. But I don't know if Ocon has gone for a different setup compared to Behrman. Haas have this year... a lot of the time, they have split their setups where they've gone kind of low downforce on one car, high downforce on another. That may be the case of what they've done here this weekend. So I don't want to be too harsh on Ocon because until I know that information, I'm not going to judge him because it may be that they've just gone for the wrong setup with Ocon and it turns out Ollie's got, obviously, the more rubber, the green. However, you still have to convert that. That doesn't mean that just because you've got the setup right, you can put it P2 in the top 3 in Q1 and Q2, which Ollie Behrman has just done. So, yeah, I really hope that, I mean, what a front 3 that would be tomorrow. Norris, Behrman and Antonelli. Of course, Oscar Piastri in P5 for the championship overall. It'd be good for Norris if you're a Norris fan, but of course, Oscar Piastri starting P5, he'd have a lot of work to do. But still, we still have a Q3 session ahead of us, but we'll start in just a few minutes' time. So, yeah, not long to go. Sainz already has 2 P3s for Williams. Does he have 2 P3? No, he has 1 P3, doesn't he? Which is Baku. Russell being investigated for impeding. Ooh, was he impeding? I mean, I did just see the onboard. He was... I think George will not be penalised for that. However, he was dawdling a bit more over towards the racing line than he should be through the exit of turn 10. I wouldn't be too best pleased if I was Lewis, but I think impeding is harsh because Lewis did have enough room to get through. But the stewards may see it differently. So, Albon tends to consistently gain positions in races, so there's hope. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Verstappen might start further tomorrow. I don't know if he will. But we'll see. If I'm Max Verstappen tomorrow, I'm taking a brand new spicy engine and I'm starting from the pit lane. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. Brake part firme. And take that spicy engine. Start from the pit lane. What you got to lose? So, Max doesn't have... Right, so to dispel this rumour, Max Verstappen does not have a grid place penalty for tomorrow. That is a rumour, an old rumour that has been circulating. No one has a grid place penalty. So, at this current moment in time. So, party mode engine, exactly. So, we'll see. Right, so, just before qualifying is about to start, get your votes in. Where do you think Ollie Behrman is going to qualify? 36% of you think the front row, 47% of you think 3rd to 5th, 11% 5th to 5 to 7th, and 5% of you think 8 to 10th. So, I'm going to end the poll there. Let's see. We're about to find out. Guys, who is going to be on pole position. It is pretty much Lando's to lose. Can Oscar Piastri dig deep and line up alongside his teammate, of course? That's what he'll be hoping for. Charles Leclerc, good lap time from him last time out. Antonelli, P3. So that track temperature is hotter than it was in Q3 yesterday, guys. At the top of your screens there, you can see it's 37.4 degrees right now. Yesterday, when it came to Q3 in the sprint qualifying, it was 33 degrees. So, yes, this track is slower than yesterday right now due to that increased track temperature. But we will see, of course, will George Russell be able to sort out his issues? He's complained about the car. He's not happy with the changes they've made. Kimi Antonelli is faring a lot better. And this is the first time this season Antonelli has the overall better of George Russell, which will be killing George Russell because, of course, he won here previously, and it's a track that he's always gone well at. He was leading here last time around, if you remember, from Lando Norris until that untimely red flag for him. So, Ollie Bearman goes out first. He has a brand new set. Let's hope he's got 2 brand new sets available for him. The fact that he's out there first must mean that Ollie Bearman does have 2 brand new sets of softs available for him. Otherwise, you wouldn't send him out that early. So we'll see. Max is going to be aggressive tomorrow. It's going to be fun watching Max make his way through the field, hopefully tomorrow. So Lewis Hamilton is obviously up there in 13th as well. He will have to navigate his way around Lewis. He always seems to... A switch always seems to be flipped in Max Verstappen when he makes his way past Lewis Hamilton for some reason. We've collided here, of course, multiple times here at this very circuit. So we'll see if that occurs tomorrow. But Ollie Bearman, lots of drivers. Has Ollie gone out too soon? Guys, has he gone out too soon? Because he's going to have a bit of traffic to contend with. And I hope that doesn't halt a good lap here. But we will see. We will see. Chances of last to first? Maybe. Maybe. I think it'd need to rain, to be honest with you. No further investigation for George Russell and Lewis Hamilton impeding. I think that's a correct decision. I think it's borderline. I think if George Russell was over to the left-hand side, just a touch more than he would have been done. But yeah, not enough to off-put Lewis Hamilton. Right, Ollie Bearman, let's see what you can do, man. Here we go. So he is currently making his way down the back straight. DRS open through the first sector. It's an 18.121. Not the quickest we have seen. No sub 18 seconds for him. He's probably a tenth off. He could probably do with another half a tenth better there through that middle sector, first sector. But we'll see how he fares in the middle sector. Hopefully everyone is very nice to him and moves out of the way swiftly as he makes his way through turn 9. Needs to be careful on the throttle here, waiting for the front end of that Haas F1 car to turn in. Make sure he's not locking up into turn 10. We've seen many drivers do so. And Charles Leclerc spin that car yesterday. No such thing for Ollie Bearman, though, as he makes his way down the hill, left-hander into turn 12. And it's a 35.753 in that middle sector. Not particularly quick. We have seen quicker as Gasly goes quickest in the first sector. But Ollie Bearman, could he be getting a cheeky little toe from the RB of Liam Lawson ahead of him here as he makes his way DRS open across the finish line? And it's a 109.9, and I don't think that's going to be particularly quick for him. But we will see, as Charles has gone even quicker there. An 18 flat for him, an 18.046. Hulkenberg across the line. He's 4 tenths behind Ollie Bearman. Oscar Piastri, he's about to start his lap. Lando Norris has done an 18.898 in the first sector. It's a poor first sector for Lando Norris. A conscious mistake there for Lando Norris. This is not going to be a good benchmark for him. So Lando will not be on provisional pole right now. This is an opportunity for Oscar Piastri to apply the pressure and regain those points that he's lost from the sprint race earlier on. 8 points he lost. 9 points is the lead at the top of the championship right now. Lando will finish this lap, no doubt. We will see. He's gone quickest in the middle sector. Ollie Bearman still quickest, though, from Pierre Gasly and Nico Hulkenberg. But Lando Norris is going to cross the line next after Charles Leclerc, as Charles only goes 0.08 of a second quicker than Ollie Bearman. So good lap time from Charles Leclerc, but only 0.08 quicker than a Haas. Lando Norris goes fastest in the middle and last sector, but with that considerably slow first sector, he's almost 8-9 tenths off the pace there. In that first sector, he is slow. Oscar Piastri's gone fastest in the middle sector. Opportunity here for Oscar Piastri to apply the pressure as Lawson goes 4th and Hadjar goes 5th. Piastri, full throttle, DRS open. What can he do here? Is this redemption time for Oscar Piastri? It is for now. 2 thousandths of a second on Charles Leclerc. It's close, but it's provisional pole for Oscar Piastri. But Antonelli's gone quickest in the first sector, an 18.035. It's Antonelli, eyes on the Mercedes duo. George Russell, not as quick as his teammate. He's slightly quicker in the middle sector, though, as Russell goes only 4th fastest. Antonelli is pretty much neck and neck between Piastri and Antonelli with that first and second sector. How was that exit out of turn 12 for Antonelli, which has caused him a bit of trouble here this weekend? He goes across the line and it's only 4th. Wow. So, right now, after that first run in Q1, Oscar Piastri is on provisional pole. Charles Leclerc is P2. Bearman is 3rd. The top 3 are separated by less than a tenth. Antonelli is just over a tenth back from Oscar Piastri. It's super close at the top. Russell is 5th, Gasly is 6th, Lawson 7th, Hadjar 8th, Hulkenberg 9th, and Norris is 10th. What a grid that would be tomorrow. Norris starting 10th tomorrow would be a very interesting race for us. Oscar Piastri, of course, looking to try and close the gap down on Lando Norris. If he finishes first and Lando finished second, he would close the gap by 7 points. But Lando would have it all to do if he's not able to get a decent lap time in this final push lap. Because, wow, a very, very rare mistake from Lando Norris this weekend at the first sector. Watching the replay of Lando, what did he do here? Why was that first sector 9 tenths off the pace? Well, he went down into the braking zone of turn 1 and he locked up the front left. Just bit off a bit more than he could chew, Lando. Very, very rare mistake for him and an unnecessary one. 9 tenths lost. That's not needed, really, for Lando Norris because he has the pace over the rest of the field. A 109.897 for Oscar Piastri. Super tight there. What a grid this will be tomorrow. Crazy tight. Yes, it is. Crazy tight. Watching, is that George Russell or Kimi Antonelli there? Kimi Antonelli had a big slide through turn 9. So Kimi Antonelli also lost a bit of time in that middle sector through turn 9. He was a bit wide of the apex and you could see he was almost Tokyo drifting through there. Antonelli, improvements to be had really for a lot of drivers out there. Remember, Gasly has been very good here as well. We got Gasly, Lawson, Hadjar and Hulkenberg were all on used tyres. So this is going to be a very, very interesting final run here. Of course, the pressure is on for Lando. How will he be able to deal with it? A championship leader by 9 points at the moment, looking to try and capitalise on what has been a dominant performance from him here this weekend thus far. But what a confidence booster this will be for Oscar Piastri, see if he is able to secure pole position. As Russell is stating, he doesn't know what's going on with his car right now, as he is 6 tenths off, half a tenth really, just over half a tenth off of his teammate. Ollie coming free. Yes, Ollie Bearman in third place. He's less than a tenth off of pole position. And Ollie went out there first. I'm watching a replay of Ollie Bearman as well. And where did he go wide? What happened with Ollie? Did he make an... Oh, Ollie had a bit of a wobble on the entry to turn 9 as well. He had to wrestle the steering wheel. So Ollie Bearman, improvements to be had from him. So it looks like no one really got the perfect lap in there. That is the situation we are in right now. We are in a Q3 where there's no Max Verstappen. There's no Lewis Hamilton. When was the last time that we had a Q3 session without Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen? Both of those two. So dominant, of course, over the last decade, those two drivers. And, well, this is what we have. Maybe this is the future of F1, what we are seeing right in front of us. Let's see. With Lawson and new tyres, he may be up the top. Yeah, there's still improvements to be had from the two RB cars. Don't rule out Gasly. I kid you not. Gasly has that Alpine. I don't know why. It turns up to Interlagos and it just seems to perform. He's just over 2.5 tenths back from Piastri and he was on used tyres. Do not rule out Gasly starting on the second row here, guys, and spoiling the Apple car. This is not your final grid position that you're seeing right in front of you right now. It'll be a very interesting grid for tomorrow, that is for sure, but it is most undoubtedly not going to be the final grid position. So, Lando Norris is out there early. He is not wasting any time whatsoever. He wants to get this done. And, well, with the pace that he has in hand, you suspect with that purple middle and last sector, all he needs is just an 18 flat or an 18.1 in that first sector to ensure that he will be on pole position. But, of course, he needs to get it done. Right, Nico Hulkenberg is the first driver out there, though. He is on, unfortunately, a used set of tyres. Hulkenberg does not have any brand new sets available to him in this final Q3 run. So we are going to switch back a position to Ollie Bearman, who does have a second set of brand new tyres available to him. Ollie Bearman, the standout performer in this qualifying session right now. He is less than a tenth off of the pole position time provisionally from Oscar Piastri. What can Ollie Bearman do? It's an 18.135 in that first sector. It's not the quickest we've seen from him. It's actually slightly slower by thousandths of a second in that first sector than the last time around, as Charles Leclerc's gone even quicker in that first sector. He's gone fastest with an 18.012. Purple there from him. But what about Lando Norris? Has he been able to hook it up in that first sector? Lando goes 18.036. That is very good for Lando. So we'll see how he fares in the middle and last sector. Ollie Bearman makes his way past Liam Lawson now as he goes through turn 11. Has he been able to keep it in check here as Hulkenberg is going to be the first to cross the line here in this last run in Q3? As Ollie Bearman, unfortunately, is not improving in any sector right now, unless it's a mega last sector for him, as Hulkenberg still moves up into P5, so that's still a good lap time for Nico Hulkenberg. Where can Ollie Bearman go? Is it an improvement? No. Ollie Bearman will stay P3. That's the best he can do. Lando's gone purple in the middle sector, but can Charles improve, and can he get pole position here? He can, by 900ths of a second, as Oscar Piastri will be starting his lap. He'll be the last to cross the line, as Lando was purple in the middle, he was green in the first, and he goes pole position by nearly just under 3 tenths. What a lap from Lando, under pressure, a 109.5. Pierre Gasly is about to start his lap as well, but what can Oscar Piastri do? Makes his way down into turn 4, Oscar Piastri. It's an 18.147 in the first sector. It's green, but it's still a tenth, over a tenth slower than that of his teammate, Lando Norris, in P1. But can he line up alongside him for the front row tomorrow and put the pressure on his teammate? We will see. Pierre Gasly, he has done a 118.1 in the first sector as well. Hadjar's done a very quick first sector. He's quicker than Oscar Piastri. Kimi Antonelli is starting his lap. He'll actually be the last to cross the finish line. The two Mercedes drivers out there quite late. George Russell is green as well, but it's an 18.1. Still a tenth off of Lando Norris. He's been struggling with that car. Liam Lawson, green in the second sector, but not green in the first. Liam Lawson comes across the line, currently P9, and he moves up to 4th. Pushes Ollie Bearman down. A good lap time from Liam Lawson. Oscar Piastri is coming across the line. It's a slow middle sector. He improves, but can only be 3rd. Isaac Hadjar is green in the first. He's green in the second. This could be a mega lap from Isaac Hadjar. It's P4. Isaac Hadjar is on the second row, but Russell is green in his first. Kimi Antonelli, he's still done. He's yellow in the first sector, but he's quicker still than his teammate. It's an 18.065 for Kimi Antonelli in the first sector. George is quick in the second sector as well, but how does he fare? He's middle sector. He's not particularly quick. It is an improvement, but how much of an improvement? P5 for him on the medium compound tyre for George Russell. But Kimi Antonelli, all eyes on the young Italian. He's the last driver to cross the finish line of 35.5. He's second fastest in that second sector. How is his last? Oh, it's P2 for Kimi Antonelli. It's a P1. It's the same front row as the sprint race. Norris first, Antonelli second, and well, Charles Leclerc is P3 with Oscar Piastri P4. Isaac Hadjar is 5th. George Russell is 6th with Liam Lawson in 7th. Ollie Bearman, unfortunately, he could not replicate the heroics when it came to Q1 and Q2. He will start P8. Pierre Gasly is P9 with Hulkenberg in P10. But wow. Lando Norris, pressure moment after that. Ballsing up off the first lap, first run. He is on pole position again. He is looking to extend his championship lead over Oscar Piastri, just like he did. Antonelli, P2. Can he get another opportunity? He will have another opportunity, but can he restart the race tomorrow and do what he couldn't do in the sprint race and get ahead of Lando Norris down into the first corner? He will start P2 tomorrow. Charles Leclerc is P3. Oscar Piastri is P4. Hadjar is P5. George Russell off the pace. He had to use the medium compound tyre in this last run. He's still improved, but only enough for P6. Liam Lawson is P7. RB, a good qualifying from them. Bearman is in 8th. Gasly is 9th. Hulkenberg is 10th. Then the rest of the field. Alonso will start 11th. Albon will start 12th. Lewis Hamilton will start 13th. Lance Stroll 14th, Carlos Sainz 15th, Verstappen, yes, Max Verstappen will start 16th place tomorrow. Ocon is 17th, Colapinto is 18th, Yuki Tsunoda 19th, and Gabriel Bortoleto, unfortunately, at his home race. Because of that big crash at the end of the sprint race, the car was unable to be repaired in time. They got close, he got back into the car, but they just fell short of him being able to get out into Q1. And Gabriel Bortoleto will start last tomorrow. And there we go. That is the race tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see what Max Verstappen could do from 16th. Remember, he won the race last year from 17th place, but the weather does not look to be as torrential as last year. Actually, it looks like it's going to be dry. We'll have a look at the weather report in a moment. But wow. Mega work from Ollie. Yep, he's consistent in the 109s the whole time. Good pace from him. Q3 is a good performance from Ollie. Shame that he couldn't get a bit more out of that Haas. I wonder if maybe Haas were a bit too cautious. They're a bit too cautious in sending him out early. I wonder if they put Behrman out a bit later in the run plan, in the order, that he might have done better. I wonder. But still, Q3 is very good for him. So, fun fact, Leclerc and Lewis have the same amount of cars between them as Hulkenberg and Bortoleto. Impressive Antonelli ability to handle pressure and defeat expectation from those who predicted more offs. I mean, he's had his moments this year, Antonelli, but I do think for the most part it's been a very positive year, and this is very much a highlight of his year. And the thing is as well, unlike Miami, where of course he qualified first and was unable to convert that race when he fell back in the race, in the sprint race, and then qualifying the next day wasn't so good for him. He's followed it up here. He's clearly on it, and he clearly has the better in relation to his setup choice, his confidence, and just his overall pace over George Russell this weekend for the first time this season. So, yeah, he has Russell completely in his back pocket here this weekend, which, of course, it is only one race weekend, but he's been able to do that, but still impressive nonetheless. What time is the race tomorrow, Swim? The race tomorrow is at, let me double check for you. I think it's 6 p.m. UK time. It will be... No, it's 5 p.m. UK time. 5 p.m. And I will be on the Missed Apex podcast tomorrow, guys. I believe I'm on the Missed Apex podcast tomorrow. So, yeah. Very, very interesting race ahead of us tomorrow. Of course, if Lando does lead into turn 1... it could be a comfortable race for him, just like it was in Mexico. But let's have a look at the weather report for tomorrow, shall we? Big thank you, by the way, everyone, for getting this channel to over 64,000 subscribers. If you could hit that like button and get this stream to over 1,000 likes as well, it'd be much appreciated before you head on out. BBC weather, Sao Paulo. Right. There's a little bit in the air. I'll show you. So you can see here, tomorrow, this is in the morning, so it looks like it could be similar. I'll tell you what it could be. It could maybe similar circumstance to what we saw in the sprint race, maybe, where it rains in the morning and then in the afternoon. So local time, I think the race starts at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. So there is a percentage chance of rain. And we have seen, of course, that bit of case at Interlagos before, where it can come over very quickly, even when it's not expected. So, yeah, we'll obviously have a look at the weather report tomorrow. It can change on a dime, as you know. So we'll have a look at that weather report tomorrow. Be sure to tune in an hour before the race starts. We will have a look, obviously, at pre-race show. Take everything in, have a look at our predictions and so forth, and look, of course, at the all-important strategy options that the teams have available in front of them. Kimmy having a great weekend on a new track? Yeah. BBC Weather uses WX charts. Fair enough. Where do I find the TV times? I go to... So, for the UK, I go to Sky Sports. So, if you go to Sky Sports F1, they have a tab which basically has all of their... So, it's the F1 schedule results tab. I've just favorited it, bookmarked it, and it clicks on it, and it shows you all of their start times, on-air times, and the actual start time of each session. So that's what I look at. And that's UK time, of course. So that's UK time. So that's where I go to. Weather Underground is predicting far less chance of rain. Yeah, we'll have a look at a few weather reports tomorrow. I'll have a look at AccuWeather and things like that as well. So, but interesting grid for tomorrow. Interesting grid. So, yeah, the official F1 site also shows time as well, and it will translate it to your local time zone. So, thank you, Charlotte. You've been here since 10,000 subs. Ah, thank you. Yeah, the growth has been tremendous. I still, of course, love my sim racing. And I still want to do sim racing, but of course with a little one, it's getting the free time is very limited now, of course. And when I do get free time, I'm kind of a bit too tired to do sim racing. as much as I still love it. I will get back into it, of course I will. But I've been enjoying doing kind of other things when I've had a bit of free time. So, but yeah. And I'm also going to give membership. I'll tell you what, I can give memberships. I'm going to give 5 subs right now. Do not have a go at me if you do not get 5 subs. I've only had 5 to give. If you are fortunate enough to get one, it is random. There we go. Gaming life is over. It's limited. It's not over, but it's limited, Rhythm. For sure. So, if you've been fortunate enough to receive a gifted sub there, my pleasure. If you have not, apologies. So, yeah. It is £1.99 for a sub for the lowest tier. So, you don't have to pay extortionate amounts if you do really want to be a sub. Of course, you don't have to, but if you do, I do really appreciate it. There is a link below. Those of you who are watching on Apple devices, you have to use the link that is in the description below. But if you're on another device, you can click the join button and join there. So this is actually insane, Hot Potato. A great recovery from Lando after the first lap. Yeah, I mean, I guess Lando, if I was Lando, like, you know when you've got the pace over everyone else, and I think he knows at this stage of the weekend, look, I just need... He bit off. It's very... It's the first time I think we've seen Lando lock up into turn 1 all weekend. And he didn't need to do... He clearly bit off a bit more than he could chew. Oh, pardon me. Into turn 1. Jeez, don't know where that come from. And he clearly got back into the grid... got back into his pit box, and he just needed to just not do anything stupid into turn 1. Just make sure he gets turn 1 right. He hits the apex, and he's got the pace in the second and last sector over the rest of the field to ensure that he's going to be on pole position, as basically what he did here. So, Elite, thank you. Much, I really appreciate it. As I said, there's no obligation for anyone to do anything when it comes to donations and memberships. So I appreciate anyone who does do so. So, welcome, Elite. Welcome to the pit crew. My pleasure, Harold. Yeah, enjoy this as always, guys. Enjoy bringing this content to you all. I don't have the stream set up for tomorrow, unfortunately, so I do apologise, but I will set that up. I'll get that set up, and we'll run a poll of who we think will win the race tomorrow. Of course, be sure to tune in an hour before we go live. So we'll be live at 4 p.m. UK time to have a rundown, of course, of the all-important weather reports, the strategy options, what tyres teams have available to them. That's going to be a key factor tomorrow. Who has what tyres available? It's a sprint race weekend, so tyre allocations are a little bit skew-if. Who has brand new tyres available? We know, obviously, track position is key. We did see earlier on in this race, in the sprint race, that really maybe an alternative strategy might be preferable when it comes to the race tomorrow. And just because even if it is maybe dry conditions, doesn't mean that there will not be a safety car, because we do have a high potential of safety cars here. I can't do it individually, Leo. I do apologise. I don't know which one to believe in. Lightning doesn't strike twice, or history is full of repetitions. Very curious about Max right now. But it's clearly this Red Bull has... I mean, it's... I predicted coming into this weekend the McLarens would be the quickest and that Lando would be quickest. That's currently correct. Now, Oscar, of course, still has some pace to find. I didn't expect him to be... I expected him to be closer to Lando. Obviously, maybe he'll still get past Leclerc and Antonelli tomorrow. But I expected Verstappen in that Red Bull to be quicker than everyone else, but not as quick as the McLarens. I did not... The last thing on my mind was that he was going to be qualifying 16th and not making it out of Q1. Especially after... how Red Bull was so good and notorious at turning around their Fridays, like the practice sessions. So, of course, they were locked in quite... obviously, they're locked in. Teams are locked into their setup with Parc Ferme and stuff after FP1. But they have the data. They do the simulation work on a Friday, and they switch it around, and they always get it right normally, or they sort out the issues at least, so that they increase that performance when it comes to qualifying and the sessions that matter. And it seems like they've evidently gone backwards. And I don't think it's a case of that everyone else has improved dramatically. I think it is a case of that Max and Red Bull have gone backwards in their performance and their setup decisions. So, Charlotte, thank you for becoming a member. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. It was 17th to 1st last year. It was Jack. However, last year he had the assistance of course, very wet conditions, a red flag. That's not to say there won't be a red flag tomorrow, but he's not going to gain as much with the car in the setup that it is now and how he feels and the balance that it's got right now. I would say even in wet conditions, Max would not fare too well because that Red Bull is clearly not in a good place at the moment. So, but never say never. Never say never. This track has provided a dramatic race in the past. That's the beauty of Interlagos, whether it's wet or dry conditions. So, Max to start the hard tyre tomorrow. I think the car will be even worse. But if I'm Max Verstappen, I mean, have they got... This is the question that we've asked is, do the teams even have brand new engines available? Oh, Elite, you didn't have to give a gifted. Thank you, much appreciated. Do the teams even have a brand new engine available to use to take a grid place penalty? I'm not sure they do, because they will probably, because we've got the new set of regs coming in next year, we know that teams have focused resource and development time onto next season, some earlier than others, and that also means spending money on new engines. So do they even have that available? I'm not sure. I bet most of the grid is starting on mediums. I think the front runners will, Leah. Yeah, I think the front runners will. Maybe Antonelli might start on the softs because of track position and so forth. But I think it'll be a mixture of medium and softs. We might see the softs. The thing is, last year, say last year, we didn't get to see it last year because of the wet conditions. But the year before that, 2023, when we was on the same set of compounds, C2, C3, C4, the strategy was soft, medium, soft. So we'll see tomorrow, probably the front runners start on the softs. And then we'll see those some of those start on the mediums, you know, goal hang for a safety car, get a cheap pit stop, that sort of thing. But the good thing, what we saw earlier on was very intriguing with McLaren and Antonelli and Mercedes on those mediums, is that those softs do fall off. They do considerably get slower than that of the mediums. And that's why we saw Antonelli close up the gap to Lando. So, and that's on a McLaren who's arguably the best on their tyres in relation to managing the thermal degradation and the temperatures of tyres. So, yeah, it bodes well for tomorrow in relation to a two-stop and strategy being a factor. Do I think Lando can win the championship with one race left? I mean, I think theoretically he could. So he would need... Lando would need 25 points, wouldn't he, over Piastri? Whoever's second, he would need 25 points heading into the last race. So he'd need 26 points to be ahead of Piastri into the last race to win it. If he wins tomorrow, so let's say for argument's sake that Piastri finishes fourth tomorrow and Norris finishes first, that's a difference of... What do you get for fourth place? F1 points... So the F1 points is... so fourth gets 12. So that'd be 13 points gained. So Lando would have 9. He'd have 20... Is that 24 points? 22 points he'd have. So he'd have 22 points gain overall. Because he's got 9 points at the moment. He'd gain an extra 13. So that'd be 22 points. So yes, it is possible. It is possible. How is the Sauber outperforming Ferrari? I don't know. There's lots of questions being asked. So, you think, low-key, you think Max is going to do a one-stop race? If he can. That's the question. Like, Max was sliding around a lot in that car. And if he's sliding around as much as he is in that car, then he's not going to... he's not going to be able to do a one-stop race because he's just going to kill his tyres. I would not be surprised to see Max start from the pit lane tomorrow. I don't think he will be happy about that setup whatsoever, and he will want to start from the pit lane. He'll want to change the setup, and he would probably prefer that, but we'll see. So... Yuki won't be in 2026. That means this is Yuki's last year in Formula 1. That's my prediction. Yep, I think Yuki, unfortunately, the timing of it is that he won't be in F1 next year. So, soft makes sense for sure, as we saw it in the sprint today. We did. However, we I don't think that soft tyre, as we saw with Lando, I don't think that soft tyre would have done the whole duration in the sprint. So we saw the softs go on, obviously, later on in the sprint, didn't we? There was like, what, 8 laps have already been completed. So 17 laps left, I think it was. 16 laps left when that sprint race got restarted. So anyone answer why not just bring back the RB19 back? Being well, the reason you would be able to bring that car back is because the cars have got tremendously quicker. The Stake F, I think it was last season, they did say that the Stake F1 car, which was the slowest car for the majority of last season, was still a second quicker than the 2023 version of the Red Bull, which I think was the RB19 or whichever car it was. So these cars develop at such a fast rate that you could bring the fastest car of last year to this season and it would be finishing last. That is how much these cars develop. Oh, thank you for the 5 gifted, by the way, Charlotte. Oh, you're an absolute star. Thank you. I must see the Brazilian podcast F1 with Christian Fittipaldi and Nelson Piquet Jr. I've seen some clips, actually. Yeah, I have seen some clips. I saw Max comment about the McLaren dynamic, which I think he has a fair point, of course, with how he was saying about obviously being like a number 1 and number 2 driver. Matt, if you haven't seen any of it, one of the clips is Max saying that he feels like if he was a team principal, the dynamic to have in an F1 team is to have a more experienced, a driver who's kind of towards their peak, maybe just getting obviously over their peak, more experienced driver in that being the number 1 driver. And then the second driver is a younger driver, a hot young prospect who is only going to get better and better. But it's good enough to still pick up the points to win a championship. Because he said, while it's very admirable to have 2 number 1 drivers, he goes, it may work for one season, but eventually that relationship is going to break down. And obviously they're going to clash and so forth. Which you can 100% see at McLaren, can't you? It happened at Mercedes as well. The first season, Rosberg and Hamilton, there was all, hey, Pally. Oh, what a great fight in Bahrain, eh? Oh, it reminded us of our go-karting days. Now look at them. Don't even speak to each other. Chances on Colapinto? No. Do I think if Yuki wins the races, he will stay in Red Bull? No. There's no way that... I think the only way Yuki stays in Red Bull is if Honda maybe front up a load of money. Maybe they don't want to... maybe they'll keep Yuki purely just because they don't want to ruin the development of Hadjar and Lawson or Arvid Lindblad. I don't know what they're going to do. I think 2026 is a good time for a driver to move up into that second Red Bull seat because it's a brand new regulation set. So in effect, you're on a level playing field with Max Verstappen. And some of these young drivers, there will be drivers, while obviously Max is held in very high regard and Max is a very brilliant driver and he'll go down obviously in history. There will be drivers that come through that will get better. You look at every generation of kind of a sportsman, they get better and better and better. And that will be the case of racing drivers as well. It's Lando's time. I think he's just got that momentum just at the right time. Let's see, but Lando, come on. Yeah, I think he has. I think he's got that confidence. He's definitely got the momentum, as you said. And look, if he wins the race tomorrow, like even so, if he wins the race tomorrow, at worst, he is increasing his championship lead by another 7 points. So that will go to 16 points lead over Oscar Piastri, heading into the last 3 race weekends. So, yeah, that is obviously a nice sizable lead with 3 race weekends remaining. Because there's a 7-point difference between P1 and P2, of course. Lando is so good, I generally don't get the hate the guy since he's turned his lap delta time off. Look, people will hate. Haters going to hate at the end of the day. End of the day, social media is not the true representation of a fan base, the whole supporters of the sport. They're the what's the right word? What do they call them? they're the vocal minority. That's it. They're the vocal minority. They're very vocal, but there's probably a minority amount of people who obviously don't like Lando. I mean, I know people who obviously don't like Lando as much as other drivers, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, people are always going to dislike sportsmen. It's okay to dislike other drivers, but of course, be very careful, obviously, with your words. As we said, we won't tolerate hate here. We do have mods who will obviously remove any of that language. It's okay to support other drivers over others, but yeah, what we try and do here as well, what I try my best to do, of course, is if anyone who's been here long enough will know that I try and base my opinions around logic and explain reasons as to why certain performances are not as good at certain tracks or certain times and things like that. And if someone has performed poorly, I'll call them out for it. If they say something stupid, I'll call them out for it. So, but yeah, the hate for Lando is definitely unwarranted, and for any driver, for that matter. Even Lance Stroll. I do think that while I personally don't want to see Lance Stroll in the sport anymore, I think he has overstayed his welcome. I do think that some of the rhetoric out there around him is unnecessary and uncalled for. So, lunatic fringe, yeah. So, will Colapinto win the World Drivers' Championship if he was given the McLaren? I'm not going to say anything about that. Look, Colapinto obviously still needs to prove himself. There is clearly still a car there for Colapinto. That's what I will say. Gasly, P9 for him in a car that arguably shouldn't be there. So Colapinto needs to dig deep. He's the only driver. He's in the only car that is not able to. Has not scored a point yet this season. So, if Toyota F1 swallows up the Haas team, they'll want a driver like Yuki or bring out their own Japanese prodigy. Yuki has what it takes. Probably, yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know who are Toyota-backed drivers, to be honest with you. It depends. It really depends. I think while Toyota, of course, would want maybe their own driver, at the same time, you want the best drivers for the job. They'd much rather their team win the championship and the Drivers' Championship than, obviously, everyone wants an ideal scenario, but sometimes you don't necessarily have the caliber of driver that's coming through the ranks at the time to chuck in that seat. So I don't actually know who Toyota-backed drivers are coming through the ranks in single-seaters. That's a good question, actually. I'll have to dig into that. But I don't think they'd take Yuki purely because of the Honda affiliation. So Lando is washed. If he's washed, why is he leading the championship? And why has he just won the sprint race? And why has he just qualified on pole and out-qualified his teammate by 4 temps? Yeah. Some new F1 fans hate boys are saying it's over. Third pole was easy for Max still. We wanted first pole. I mean, look, I'm not saying the championship is over by any means. There's still a long way to go. Tomorrow's race is still a long race. We've seen many a dramatic race at Interlagos, even without the weather. We have Vegas, which is a very interesting race and is still a bit of an unknown heading into this year because they've brought the time forward. So the track conditions are going to be different than what we're used to at Vegas. So who knows what that track's going to provide. It's always been a bit of an outlier. Then we go to Qatar, where, yes, I expect McLaren to be strong there, but Piastri is also strong there. It's a sprint race weekend as well, so plenty of opportunity for points. And then Abu Dhabi is, of course, a bit of a damn squib, to be fair, Abu Dhabi. But there's still a lot of racing to be had. So, what are my thoughts on the championship now? It's in Lando's hands, personally. I think in the form that he's in, and of course with him starting on pole tomorrow, and the form, and obviously what he showcased here this weekend, I see the remaining circuits falling into more so Lando's side of strengths than I do Oscar's. So I do think it's in Lando's hands. And ultimately, it is in his hands. He's 9 points in the lead. He now needs to see this across the line in the closing stages. If he doesn't, and Oscar Piastri comfortably beats him every race weekend, then, of course, Oscar fully deserves it as well. But this is the nature of a 24-race season, or 24-race weekend season, is that there's so many points on offer, and it's never over until the last race, or it's never over until it's mathematically over, you know. So, you like Yuki before he went to Red Bull? It's just the pressure of Red Bull. Do you think McLaren is favouring Lando over Piastri? No, I don't. I think they're both being given the same opportunity. They're sharing the same data. They've been given the same parts. Yes, there's been times when Piastri has refused to take parts compared to Lando. That's his prerogative. But I think what we're seeing right now at this stage of the season, and particularly in the last run of races since Baku, is we've seen a confidence hit in Piastri. We've seen him come to circuits which historically he hasn't performed well at, and his weaknesses in relation to his teammates have been massively highlighted. And that's the thing, is that it's okay if like your teammate also has the same weaknesses at you. It doesn't look as bad. But the fact that Lando excels at the tracks where Oscar struggles at has obviously exaggerated the gap to both drivers. And of course, with the added pressure of leading a world championship and both going for your first title and in the same car as well. Yeah, I think we're seeing. I think we've seen obviously the mental side of it really play a big part on Oscar Piastri's side and even Lando's side as well. I've said I think Lando, you have to give credit to him. He's definitely addressed something on the mental side. I don't know who he's spoken to, but he's clearly spoken to people, whether it be people close to his family, they've brainstormed, or he's seen a professional. But he has made some changes that have evidently meant that he has performed better, I think. And you can see that with the way that he approaches interviews and just obviously his overall demeanour as well. So, I glazed Max so much. Are you talking about me? You think Piastri struggles in the later half of the season because of the inexperience and Lando excels there? Well, that definitely plays a factor as well. I do think that plays a factor, yes. People are forgetting this is only Oscar Piastri's third season in F1, and he has made massive strides in his development over that 3 seasons. And Lando is in, his 7th season? 8th season in F1? So he has a considerable amount of more experience than that of Piastri. And he's been able to get on top of his weaknesses compared to Piastri. So Piastri will get better. I think he will continue to improve, even if he stays at McLaren or moves elsewhere. And I don't think this will be the last championship that he personally challenges for. Oh, the guys in chat. 2024 Brazil makes you think anything is possible. Yeah. I mean, look, we've seen many dramatic race at Interlagos. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to tomorrow. I hope you guys are too. Will Max be able to make a comeback drive? I don't think so, no. Not with the way that car is. I don't see there being a magic switch that they can just flick on to sort that Red Bull out tomorrow, even if they make setup changes. I thought they'd be able to sort it out from sprint race or sprint quali to here, but they've clearly made the car worse. So there's something fundamentally wrong with that Red Bull and how it's functioning here this weekend. I expect him to make ground up tomorrow and finish in the points, but I don't see a performance like we saw last year. Piastri would definitely be a world champion, but definitely not this season. I mean, never say never. I'm not putting any stock in any driver yet. I'm still not. I mean, have you watched this season? Lando had a 20-point lead after the first race. He was caught and overtaken by Piastri. Piastri had a 34-point lead or 32-point lead over Norris. He's now been caught and overtaken by Norris. I mean, I've been here for every single race this year. I've been following the season and every race closely. And yeah, I'm still. My hope is still that the championship goes down to the last race of the season. That's what we all want, because Abu Dhabi is always a bit of a boring race. So we need something there for us to be invested in. Are the 26 cars going to be slower due to the new regs? I suppose 26 cars are more understeering. I think they're looking... I mean, some reports have said they're going to be 4 seconds quicker. I have absolutely no idea, to be honest. It's all based on simulation. It's all based on assumption. Until they actually get out there on circuit in February for testing, we won't know. But I think next season is going to be a topsy-turvy season. It really is. There's going to be lots of regulation changes. We don't know who's going to be quickest. It is a lot, obviously, very engine-dependent. But I think we could see a team dominate the first quarter of the season, and then there's a big regulation change, and then another team dominates the next like races of the season, and it's going to be like this consistent change of who is quickest. I think anyway. So yeah, but anywho, that is it, guys. That is it for this qualifying session. What a day it's been. A very interesting sprint race. A interesting qualifying session there. What do we have in store tomorrow, eh? What do we have in store tomorrow? Big thank you everyone, for, by the way, for bringing this channel to over 64,000 subscribers. Absolute pleasure to bring you these watch-alongs. If you can hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes. It'd be much appreciated. But of course, tune in tomorrow. An hour before the race goes live, I'm going to set up the stream straight from here, so you can get over there. I'm going to run a poll of who you think is going to win this race, and of course we'll have a look before the race begins tomorrow at the strategy options, the tyre allocations, the pit stop loss time, and of course the all-important weather report. Will there be any rain? Will that weather report change overnight between now and tomorrow's race start? We will see. But thank you as always, guys. Have a lovely rest of your Saturday, and we will see you for the race tomorrow. Bye!